All I got to do is feed the
Nice.
animals.
That sounds like a good metaphor, a good analogy for a lot of things.
You are so odd.
I got nothing.
Oh, yeah,
I thought we were going to talk about Brooks and Dunn today.
You're more like a game show.
Oh, he's got the glow of Bruce Leroy.
What's up? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yo, Adam. Yep.
Yeah, that's right. What's happening? Hey, Rob.
You guys met on the Did He Get Away With It episode when we had Rob's Adam and forgive me for forgetting her name.
Oh, Amanda. Yeah.
Amanda. Yeah. To get fucking reacquainted a little bit here, like I want to talk about all of Rob's many, many blisses and pursuits of and his passions. So we'll try and get to them all. Like if I can rattle off some from the dome. He's the he's the editor-in-chief of Adult Storytime Publishing. He's a writer himself. He's a music aficionado, mainly hip hop. He's into growth and wellness, spiritual shit. He works with children. But before all that, he's got a buttload of degrees and shit like that I want to just like rattle off because like your academic pursuits are incredible and noteworthy. And honestly, like I remember your friend saying them all at your wedding, but other than that, I don't, I'd like a refresher on them too.
Rob, how dare you? How dare you have all this? First of all, I'm not jealous.
Yeah.
Damn.
Chronologically, like, what's your stripes academically, degree-wise?
Well, thanks for having me on, John. And try not to get too caught up in the credentials because they're important, but they're also not important.
Yeah. That's why I wanted to get them out of the
master's.
way real quick.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I studied religion and English in my undergrad, and went on to get a master's in religious studies. Excuse me, master English lit, and then a master's in theology, and then at the same school where I got the master's in theology, I got a PhD in theology technically, but it was a cross-disciplinary program. So it was more a combination of the sociology of religion, race studies, and pop culture studies, specifically within, African-American, the larger umbrella of African-American, Black American cultural production.
Dr. Rob, you're the only PhD I've ever met that doesn't call themselves a doctor.
Oh, dang. I like Dr. Rob. That's kind of like a riff on the Beatles song, Dr. Robert.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, dude, you should go by that. You worked really hard for all those degrees. You should like, I'd have like, what's the Admiral jacket with the test?
Yeah. Get some stripes. Yeah.
Medals hanging down. Yeah.
You're right. I am too modest about it.
I'm going to get a letter jacket with all of my books on it. Like a high school letter jacket. It'll have an A there. And it'll have like everything that I've ever done down the side. All right. So when did you fall in love with hip hop?
That started pretty early on. Probably more pre-consciously or unconsciously than consciously. But growing up in Baltimore, had access to rap radio through 92Q, which is 92.3 FM, and then 102.7 FM. I forget the name of that, what like the catch name for that station was. But either way, those two stations, and then the alternative rock station at the time in Baltimore, 99.1 WHFS, was really eclectic in its offering. So between those three stations, I had a lot of access to stuff that was popping off in the golden era of hip hop, like Tribe Called Quest, Queen Latifah, some of the R&B like En Vogue, some of the R&B crossovers like Salt and Pepper, and then superficially Wu-Tang. I was too young to really understand it, and I wasn't allowed to listen to a lot of it.
Yeah,
At least
but
if my parents called. Yeah,
yeah, but it was the movement. You were around it. You had to be like, yeah, I'm a part of it.
definitely. It was part of the zeitgeist. So we were all
Yeah.
growing up, ingesting these things without even realizing what it was and what it was about. And Crisscross, like Kid Rap, Crisscross was my first rap album, and that was really my first exposure into to really like, yeah. That was probably not my first exposure, but my first foray into actually collecting rap and collecting albums and getting joy out of saving money and going to the record, the CD store. So, and then the Fugees was the score was like a big album for me in 7th grade.
That was my
Yeah,
first rap
Fugees
album.
that was a huge album.
Yeah, that was like, and it was like, it was accessible enough for someone my age that it wasn't like, I mean, it's dealing with really heavy themes, but in ways that I thought that I look back on now as being more age appropriate.
Yeah.
For like what, an 11-year-old.
Do you think you
something like yeah.
Oh, do you think you at that time? Do you think you grasped the heavy themes, or did they just kind of go over your head in '94?
I think it was more just like, damn, this shit sounds awesome. So yeah, it was more about the beat, but only over time, and really not until graduate school was I beginning to explore these themes in more self-reflexive ways, calling to account the fact of my whiteness and what that means to be a white person, engaging in a lot of this cultural influence as a way to shape my own identity, and that just has fascinated me. Like I think I've always been fascinated by the process of self-actualization or individuation.
Yeah.
I'm a seeker at heart, and hip hop has been such an integral part of that. And I think it's, by the time I was more conscious of what it was that was influencing, that was shaping this identity, it was like, all right, well, how does race factor into this, and why is it important to consider race in my own consumption of this cultural medium, so as to understand my place in it, and also understand, like, these are narratives that on many levels, I don't have, on a very deep level, I don't have access to experientially. So then what does that mean? How do I hold that intention with the facts of my own upbringing, which were cushioned by my privilege, even though I grew up in a working class environment? I think there was a certain degree to which hip hop's underclass sensibilities met me, and I met hip hop's sensibilities through that entree or intersection. But then there's this other layer of race, and now that I think about it too, sexuality, because so much of hip hop is driven by Black meaning making, and that includes Black celebrations of the body, Black experiences of sex, and that were also like very much like heteronormatively shaped.
Yeah.
And so, how do I make myself as a gay person listening to some shit that's like pretty homophobic or just heterosexist,
Yeah,
and it's a legacy that hip hop has.
Yeah, it had to grow through that. There was an era where the F-bomb was all right, and like talking about a different
well, just
F-bomb,
even being, even treating women poorly in a lot of the earlier stuff too. It's almost fair to say, well, maybe not. I don't know. Would it be fair to say that the hip hop itself has kind of gone through its own individualization, like you were saying, its own self-realization? I mean, it did start off, in the 70s, it was very much about like urban decay, poverty, gang violence. And where does that come from? That comes from redlining. That comes from racism. That kind of it kind of grows, not just in changes in like what's trending stylistically, but also like subject matter too.
Yeah.
Totally.
Dude, that's what's one of the reasons why, like, we live in one of the best times to be alive ever, like, mainly because of hip hop. Like, I mean, us three weren't there at the birth of it, but like, we're there in its infancy,
Uh-huh.
80s and 90s and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And like, it's changed the world completely. And we've been able to watch it grow and be a part of it. But like, yeah, it evolves and ebbs and flows and goes forward and takes
Yeah.
steps backwards, and it reflects
Well, and we can even come back to it. You know, you could come back to it with another set of eyes as you grow too. You know, you
Oh
could go
yeah,
back and listen to the old, like, I could go back and listen to like old Jurassic 5 albums and hear a new thing
yeah.
that I
Totally.
didn't understand.
But yeah, circling back to the misogyny of it, just like the way it shaped, yeah, the way it shaped viewing the world as like black kids with not that strong or no father figures or whatever, looking up to hip hop and who we're supposed to be as a man. And it's just like, yeah, it taught us like to not, it taught us to like that pimps were okay. And like it was like you're not a man if you're showing affection to your woman in public or ever, if you don't like, and even like even eating puss, man, like that was such a taboo. Like
Uh-huh.
you weren't a man if you did it, if you went down on your woman. I mean, and that's hip hop in a lot of cultures. Do you guys remember that episode of The Sopranos when
I was just going to bring
Junior?
up, wasn't that like an organized crime thing that was kind of
Yeah,
mirrored?
yeah. It was in The Sopranos, like Junior, the Uncle June. He was his girlfriend told everybody that he went down on her, and he got all pissed about it. And then Tony started making fun of him at the golf course. Uncle June is in the muff.
Yeah, right. What does that mean for a man to service a woman?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
in terms
exactly.
of,
Right. Right.
yeah, whatever
That's,
definition of manhood you're working with.
Yeah, but it had to,
Sorry.
yeah, it had to grow through that, I guess. And now, yeah, now we know better than that. It was like that Common song, "I Used to Love Her." Like that tells the story of it perfectly from its infantry, and like it's so poetic the way he does it because he's singing it about a girl that's been going through these changes. Like she went to the West Coast and the East Coast, and like she was, when, and yeah, it talks about like gangster rap going to this and that, and like I don't want to make it about that episode or this episode about that song because I totally could. Uh,
yeah.
And as a counterbalance to that, Erica Badu has a song, "I Used to Love Him," and it's similar. It's her kind of women's relationship with hip hop, and I think it's
yeah.
a really important perspective and
Oh
worth
yeah.
going back to. I will listen to it in a minute, but hearing what you said about Common's track made me think about her. Like, all right, and she's someone that's worked with Common closely as an
Yeah.
artist, and I think there are two approaches that are looking at how so much of hip hop is black masculinity working itself out, and
Yeah.
but also on the other underside of that, like the shadow feminine, or just the sort of unaccounted for feminine contribution, or women's contribution, or femme identified contribution to hip hop, and how that perspective has so often been overshadowed by these more dominant narratives of black masculinity because we live in a patriarchal society. You know what I mean? We're still living
Yeah.
down the history of patriarchy as it is manifested in hip hop as a response to, disempowerment, particularly black male disempowerment. And so I think it's really important to just lift up those examples of women who are the backbone of hip hop as well.
Yeah.
Women were there from, just as much as men were.
Yeah, true. That's a good point. Like the gender bending part of it. Because like now, I mean, women's hip hop is in the era of like, I won't say over sexualizing, but like like sexualizing them and celebrating it or whatever. But like early days of hip hop, like you had to be real hard. Like who do we have? Queen Latifah, uh,
MC Light.
MC, that's what. Thank you, MC Light, um, Angie Martinez later. But like I don't know. I mean, you had
Missy Elliott. Missy Elliott was big.
yeah, Missy Elliott, and then you still had the
and she was.
section.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, John.
I was
Go,
gonna say,
yeah.
yeah, no, and but there was also the Foxy Browns and the Lil Kims, and like they were both skilled and sexual. Not to say that you know, Nicki Minaj
You
and
can't be
isn't like I'm not
right.
dissing nobody, but
Hmm.
yeah, that's just an interesting point. Yeah, it's grown.
Yeah, and I wonder. Sorry, Adam. If I just cut in. If,
I got
um,
nothing.
oh, because
I thought we were going to talk about Brooks and Dunn today.
Oh, we can go there too. But I thought there was an earlier point you were wanting to make, Adam, and I just want to be conscious of that. So, but I
Rob
was
is
just
a
going to
better
say,
moderator than I am.
no, right? No, not at all, John. Oh, the hypersexualization piece. Like, how much of that um, is a negotiation with tropes of Black masculinity that have rendered Black women invisible, and two, how much of it is like a healthy celebration of women's bodies, and I appreciate that in the same way. I appreciate that hip hop provides these kinds of variations in its self-expression that allow for um, for the visibility of these multiple parts of one, if you want, one collective body, and that's
Yeah.
like how much of that is what you were saying, John, about life or our own individuation process, and maybe Adam, that's what you were linking hip hop to. But I mean, it's 50 years old, just over 50 years old now, technically.
Mm-hmm.
The three of us are like approaching 50.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we've grown up, have been shaping ourselves alongside this medium that is reflecting our own humanity back to us. And
Yeah.
and I think it's unique. What is questions that became important to me were how are white people like learning to embody this medium, like how does their performance of whiteness betray a performance of whiteness performing Blackness? So there's a sort of like meta awareness that we who are white could take account of in terms of like the degree to which we're reaching toward Blackness, but we're ultimately not Black, which is good to good to remember, because we carry none of the burden of what it means to be Black.
Yeah.
And
I can kind of relate to that, and like on the opposite end, to where I was kind of I was apprehensive to like celebrate my appreciation of white music, all but everything but hip hop, as like as a fear that it brings my Blackness into question, because I'm already light skinned and half breeded. I was always getting you talk white, or like, but you're not black, or like just shit like that all the time. So it's just like every decision is kind of like, yeah, is this a Black thing to do? Is it a white thing to do? Is that kind of what you feel like?
definitely, in terms of my own anxieties, I think there's a part of me that wants to be Black, and there's a part of
Yeah.
me that fetishizes Blackness because of the cool that it represents, especially as it manifests through that coolness manifests through hip hop, which is so far the most contemporary expression of Black Americanness, Black American coolness, Black American male coolness, and yet also, so much more than that. And I think it represents that in the white imagination collectively in really problematic ways, but in ways that I think speak to maybe an absence of guides for navigating. And I'll speak for myself, my own whiteness in a highly racialized context, which is, you know, North America. And so, yeah, I feel that anxiety all the time, like, especially if I'm in predominantly Black spaces. It's like, okay, well, how am I, like, okay, like, should I just show up as white? Like, how much of my whiteness should I refract through downness, and what does downness look like when I'm white? And like,
Right.
Yeah.
Are you invited to the barbecue or not?
Yeah.
Right. Thank you.
You're waiting to get, yeah, absolutely. You're waiting to get your pass.
Yeah.
And like, if I am I going to be, am I trying too hard? And like, what the fuck? And
Right.
Yeah.
I just, my attention is not yours for sure, John. It's similar but different. So I want to recognize the difference in cadence.
Sure.
Mhm.
But I remember being at a family thing, and my sister was like telling an ex-boyfriend of mine, "Oh, don't tell Rob that he's not Black." Because I think there's a degree to where Blackness has been a channel through which to express my own rage at a system that I feel is unjust.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Well, and to that point, there's also like this almost like a stolen valor element to it. A lot of that experience is rising above, you know, poverty, rising above the decay that came with it. You know, it's like this achievement and rising above challenges that were unfair to begin with. And there is this like stolen valor element there too, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. I dig that.
Completely. It's a struggle. It's a narrative of like struggle and triumph and failure and all those things that like.
And everybody wants to rise above the struggle, and that's kind of a way to maybe, I don't know, have an easy in there.
Oh yeah.
I didn't have the same struggle, but yet to try to still be accepted is
Well, that's why Vanilla Ice was hated.
interesting. Right.
It's
Well,
like
I thought it was the sideburns.
It was the sideburn. There was a couple. There might have been a few other things about Rob Van Winkle that people didn't appreciate. But you know what I mean though. Like after you jump in now, like after it's good, and everybody celebrates you for it.
Exactly. He went to a private school.
Yeah. You went to Cranbrook.
Right, and there's nothing wrong with that, but like, don't front you didn't go to
Right.
Yeah.
His name is Clarence. Clarence's parents had a real nice marriage.
Right. or even Eminem to an extent. Like, and he's proven himself. He's like one of the greatest of all times. Yeah. But like initially, you know what I mean? I don't think there was all that much, but there was resistance.
I think getting in with Dre helped him.
Yeah.
See, he had a card.
Yeah, exactly.
He was already at the barbecue.
Right. Yeah, right. Yeah, and I think as much as I have mixed feelings about Eminem, acknowledging that he's an excellent rapper and has accomplished the kind of success he's had on the basis of being a talented artist.
Mm-hmm.
He brings a kind of self-awareness to his expression of black maleness as a white dude that I think is important to hold up as a model that's not perfect, but at least at that level, at that mainstream level, is self-reflexively engaged with how he's showing up, especially now, especially in 2025, where he has been more outspoken about social issues.
Mm-hmm.
So I think still some of his shit smacks of an ongoing struggle with his own internalized homophobia. I should say homophobia in general. but like a homophobia that's still not fully processed or integrated. And I'm thinking of I don't know how recent it was, but a diss track toward Tyler the Creator, several, but not, but still recent years ago, where he's falling on these tropes, just these tropes of what it means to be a man, like a cis straight man that feels unexamined to me. But I don't know where he is in 2025 on that. I feel like his stint with Elton John was more of like a celebrity, like a
kind of manufactured.
Yeah. So I'm still like, okay, see you, but like, you're still not it.
Yeah.
I think there are more conscious ways of expressing that identity than what he's doing, but he's still doing it. Sorry.
And so, Rob, how often do you find challenges in being an academic and looking at this as like a scholar rather than like, do you ever feel like you're overstudying it or being overly scientific or overly academic?
Definitely, yeah. I think there's a point where it's like, dude, just stop thinking about it and enjoy it. Like, you showed up at the barbecue, you were invited. Like, enjoy the food, enjoy the company, and I think that's like scoping out. I think that's just a good lesson for my own life. Like, where do I just put myself up in general by overthinking shit and overthinking the way I show up in any space? Yeah, because I can't, just accept that I'm there.
You just intellectualize everything.
You gotta, like, I think it comes down to like trusting your own authenticity. Cause I'll tell, like, one thing about getting invited to the barbecue or a card, it's like energy doesn't lie. Like, like you're authentic about like your love for hip hop. It comes out in like joy, and it's like joyous energy. Or like even if you're just trying to fit in, but you're awkward about it, like the awkwardness is authentic and it's endearing.
Sure.
Right on.
So like that.
Yeah,
Rob,
that's fair. Fair enough. Fair
that
point.
Rob energy comes out, and it's just like, whatever you're saying, it's like, I believe in that, or whatever. Like it's real. So it's I don't know. That's your invitation. It's your energy.
Sweet.
And like, you can't think about it.
Right. Exactly. Because that's when, it's like freestyling. The minute you start thinking about what you're freestyling, that's when you trip up.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Not that I'm an expert freestyler, but keeping it within the practice of hip hop. How much of hip hop is just like showing up as you are and being unapologetic about it?
Yeah.
Like, that's the point. Like,
Awesome.
Front.
Awesome.
Oh,
yeah.
Guys, I'm sorry. I got a kind of a hard out here. It's been kind of a hectic schedule. I'm gonna have to sneak off pretty quick.
Oh yeah.
I just didn't want to interrupt the flow. So if I go,
Oh, right.
Thanks for your attention, Adam. I appreciate it.
It's awesome, dude. I want to talk to you so much more about other subjects that you mentioned that we didn't even scratch the surface on yet. So.
We'll
likewise
catch up on this one, but we'll have them on again so we can all wrap.
Yeah, please. That's awesome. All right, y'all. I'll talk to y'all guys soon.
Shit.
Careful, Joe. Oh wait, I want to finish watching this.
Make sure he's
that way he can't. That way he can't cut it out.
Oh shit. So have you been writing lately?
Mostly journaling. Yeah.
Journaling?
I had mentioned to you several months ago, submitted a final draft of an article that's a chapter that's going to be included in a volume out through an academic press called Palgrave Macmillan in the fall of this year.
Okay, nice.
It's called Mysticism from the Margins. Mysticism from the Margins. I forget the subtitle. but it's a compilation of essays by mostly like religion, spirituality, depth psychology, um, scholars in the fields of religious studies, depth psychology, and spirituality and theology, examining expressions of religious self-expression from cultures who are considered, outside of, outside of the standard canon of spirituality. So I was invited to contribute insights around hip hop and the ways in which that function, it functions as a type of cultural collective form of self-expression from folks who exist outside of the dominant narrative or the dominant culture. And hip, like we're talking about, hip hop came off from under the radar of white mainstream culture, and is in many ways sociologically a kind of religious movement insofar as it centers around these rituals of style and art and bodily self-expression.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you really think about it, like the old DJ Kool Herc basement parties or whatever, like where it all started.
Right.
Like, I mean, that's essentially like the neighborhood's church for them. Like, that was their safe place to gather and commune and share this idea, or even just try and create a way out of this life, or even just escape it for a little bit, with all the violence and stuff going on around. And I mean, what they were originally rapping about. But yeah, like, and now it's stayed that, like, through the culture. So like the culture is the religion, and the church is the boombox.
Oh yeah, yes, I love that. Yeah, is the dance floor in so many ways. And I mean, it's message music. I mean, it's sermonizing music. Comes out of a long tradition of Black preaching and covert ways of gathering as a community that we could trace back to the antebellum hush harbors, they were called, when slaves would congregate in forest clearings outside of the watchful eye of the master, and in their off times, which were few and far between, and just beat drums and dance, and also reclaim Christianity as a form of social protest. Didn't always manifest that way. It could be, could sometimes be practiced as a form of like further self-subjugation to a system of slavery, but also, a space of like real bodily freedom and self-expression. And I'm thinking of the early days of hip hop. Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five's "The Message," or Curtis Blow's "The Breaks." Like, we're getting glimpses into the harsh realities of street life that we're still caused to celebrate because there was music behind it to dance to. And I think that's the beautiful thing, without essentializing Blackness or over romanticizing it, especially as a white person. There's a degree to which Black Americanness shows up as this resilience in the face of resilience and vulnerability, like bodily vulnerability as resilience, in the face of these oppressive systems. Yeah, and the word is such a crucial part of that.
Yeah.
Like
It's and speaking
what
to
is being said.
the song, the message, and the message itself, it's like that's the avenue, that's the platform that we had to teach and share the message and get it out there. And it's like there was nothing
Right.
before that. Like nobody was
Right.
listening, and it's like speaking to the covertness you were talking about. It's especially in the beginning, it was a way to get that out there, but like I don't know, the mainstream or the gatekeepers or whatever, they weren't paying attention yet, and so like they weren't.
Right.
Not until parental advisories and Barbara Bush, I think it was, that like
Yeah.
there's like, oh shit, we got to put a censor on this, just which just helped it, like because you throw a parental advisory sticker on a CD and like I noticed that one, I want that one now, you know what I mean?
Right. Exactly.
So like
What are they saying?
yeah. So like that censorship actually helped catapult hip hop to new stratospheres.
I'm really grateful on some levels that I came to deeper understandings and excavations of hip hop later, because as 11, 12-year-old, I don't know that I would have been able to understand it. And that's why I really appreciate Crisscross, even though I want to problematize the ways in which young people have been exploited in pop culture for the sake of entertainment.
Yeah.
Still, that album is full of the perspective of what it means to be a seventh grader and living in the inner city. And it's like, okay, well that for me was like really formative without me necessarily knowing why. And it wasn't the Wu-Tang, it wasn't like 36 Chamber.
Yeah.
Some like violent ass gangster rap or hardcore rap that I probably had I been introduced to hip hop through that lens, might have led to a more problematic embodiment of hip hop culture, if only because it's a more explicit rendering of, and by that I mean just a more violent rendering of Black life that wouldn't have been age appropriate for me.
It shapes your perspective. I mean, and you grew up in I mean, maybe for somebody that grew up in like I don't know, northern Minnesota, for example, or a white person in like northern Minnesota or whatever, like they're especially during the era that I was growing up, there was maybe like 10, 20 like Black people in the town or whatever. So like most people don't have a perspective other than what they see on TV. And it's just like you're working from that. But like you grew up mostly in Baltimore, right? Your younger days?
Yeah, all the way through high school, and then I went to Philly, went off to college. So left.
But like Baltimore, Philly, like there's no shortage of Black people around you.
No, yeah. And I mean, it was always, I'm sorry, John.
No, keep going. Yeah.
Yeah. And just, and yet I was still somewhat insulated from that experience because I was on the outskirts of Baltimore City proper. And so there was a curiosity about what it meant to live on that side of town. Baltimore is still and was very deeply segregated, and I certainly wasn't aware of that as a kid, except through my own sort of fear of and fascination with Black people, because that was because race is such a visible marker of difference. I was like both acutely aware of it and also just completely oblivious to it, as any kid would be, because I think we start off in many ways colorblind, and it's not until we become like, you know, until we become more aware of the way race has been politicized in our country, that those markers of difference become more stark.
Yeah,
and that's where it's like oddly, yeah.
I was like, yeah, until somebody tells us we're different. But like other than that, it's just like skin tone is just like freckles or hair color or whatever. It's
Yes.
like it doesn't matter. It's like it's an identifying thing. It's like I recognize that you have darker skin than me or lighter skin than me, but like what the fuck does that matter? You want to play?
Right, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
which is what you know, I had friends down the street who were of mixed heritage, ethno-racial heritage, like a German American father, and if I'm not mistaken, and a Caribbean American mother.
Ooh, that's a blend.
From Guyana. And I remember, yeah, it is. I remember somehow, and I read about this in the article that's coming out. I have a memory of my friend's mom, Chris's mom, Miss Norma, talking about racial difference, and she wasn't saying it in those words, but she was saying exactly what you're saying. This is not even black. Like, this color isn't even black. It's brown, and you're more pink than white.
Yeah.
So what we call race is just made up. And I was like, so young, but that was such a formative insight that it stuck with me throughout my entire life. Like, yes, that's all it is. And yet we can't forget the way that it has been exploited to oppress, to oppress a certain group of people and privilege another group of people.
Mm-hmm.
And this may or may not be related to where the conversation is going, but I think it's important to note that as we continue to face down the history of race in this country, we can't just go back to that naive colorblindness of our youth. Like, as much as I want to celebrate it, it's not to say that we further enforce race as a reality, because it is just a construct.
Mm-hmm.
But to say that, like, yeah, this is a reality insofar as that it is a construct that has political consequences. And until these consequences change, we have to acknowledge that it exists until it no longer exists.
Oh, yeah. It's, like this whole thing that we call the universe has been a constant evolution. Like, we're just raising the vibrations. But like, yeah, we got to accept where we are right now and where we've been and where we could be, but like in a way that stays present. Because like, kind of speaking to that, there's even on a positive side, there's a need and desire to like maintain the culture that you were brought up in and raised with, especially given the fact that it was taken away. But also, like, there has to, like, the point of it all is to be equal and integrated. And it's like, it's tough to fight for equality when somebody's pushing against you. It's like, because if the mic is the middle and like I'm over here and they're over here, like every move is like encroaching in their territory, because like they don't see this as the middle. They see that all of that is, they see theirs. All of that. Yeah. And like, you're lucky you have that much. And so then it's a constant pushback, and like, it's hard to stop right here after you've been, it's like gambling all night and then breaking even. It's like all that work just to be here, and it still doesn't feel like equal or whatever. It's like you keep pushing, and then and then you forget, and then we're overcompensated again, and then just, I don't know, it just keeps going back and forth. But the point is for everyone to, the point is to like integrate, you know what I mean? To where it's like, at least I think,
share the jackpot.
Yeah, and to where that's not white culture or black culture or Asian culture or native culture. It's just like, I mean, that's
culture.
Yeah, it's just culture. I mean, that's what my spirituality is like. It's a little Buddhist, this little shaman doing some Kundalini. It's like Jesus had some cool things about him too. But like, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's all of that. And it's like, yeah, I don't know. Like it's not exactly this moment, but like it's almost time to move past like worrying so much about like what's appropriation and what's not and what we can do. And I mean, it's just like what we've been talking about. And it's like, am I allowed to do this because I'm white or
Right.
black? And it's just like yeah, I don't know. It's it's complicated. It's an intricate blend to find that balance.
It is, and it's even. I mean, it's even harder now, and harder, or um, maybe more difficult to differentiate cultural difference now that we live in such a hyper globalized society, and
Yeah.
um, and the fact that appropriation is happening both ways constantly all the time. And I
Yeah.
guess like going back to the hip hop ethos, it's all about just knowing your history. Like know your history.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Don't front. Um,
Right.
like it's what one theorist calls indexicality. So who are you indexing? Like what is your, like where do you stay? You know, like who do you stay with?
Yeah.
Right? Those kinds of questions,
Yeah.
I think, keep up. And I think if we're conscious of it, keep us accountable to who we are in these spaces,
Yeah.
so that we can meet each other, you know, with equity and equilibrium, and not pretend that like we're entitled to one thing, especially as white consumers, that we're not,
Yeah.
or to gatekeep so much to the point that white consumers aren't allowed to somehow like participate and engage consciously with this material.
Yeah,
And
because then comes the pushback.
right, right, exactly. And I think generally speaking, as a society, and this is where I hear you going, John, is that like, okay, we understand that cultural difference exists. So
Hmm.
how can we get beyond politics to start thinking about ways to create just a more equitable society in general? And I think that means
Yeah.
showing up for each other,
Yeah,
and
learning and
showing up
growing
in,
together.
yeah, and like overlapping our spaces.
Yeah.
So I feel like, and we do that through friendship. We do that
Yeah.
through community, and I don't know how else to do that myself. I have not known how else to do that
Yeah.
except through um, my own understanding of the language and ethos of hip hop as an entryway into
Yeah.
that eye to eye, eye
And,
level, since you know,
yeah.
sincerity. Yeah,
And I think you do it through your writing. Like you share your perspective through like, and not just this project that you're doing, but like you have an ongoing narrative nonfiction. Is that what you call your genre? Narrative nonfiction?
yeah,
Yeah, but
yep,
like that's how we do it too. You're putting your voice out there and you're sharing it. And it's like now that you're speaking honestly and authentically, like that's there for somebody to learn. Maybe they share your experience, or maybe they've never seen it from your eyes or known anybody that's seen it from your eyes. And yeah, that's what we all got to do. Just keep sharing honestly and authentically. And uh,
right. And I think that's hip hop. Oh,
no, go ahead.
I was just
It's
vibing
your
hard,
world.
John. Sorry, man.
Yeah.
No, it's our world, and no, man, I'm riffing with you, and I think that's hip
Oh,
hop realness, and
yeah.
I think even deeper, because um, and this has come up in some of my work, um, even distinguishing between authenticity and sincerity, because authenticity implies a certain kind of like objective standard. All right, you look a certain way, you're performing
Hmm.
your self-expression a certain way, and it's measurable by these observable standards or characteristics.
Yeah.
And I think going even deeper than that, and what I appreciate you seeing in me, um, is a certain kind of like sincerity, also like an interior motivation, a subjective experience that you can't necessarily measure, but which strikes people as real, or
Yeah.
not, depending
Yeah.
on how you authenticate, not
Yeah.
authenticate that. Well, yeah, how authenticate that through your self-expression.
Yeah. And how that, yeah, it depends on how, excuse me. Yeah. Um, how how you reflect upon the people that you're in. It's like how they see you, that
Right.
matters. But like you've got that intangible quality. And like if
Right.
if like if they see that if someone sees that special something in you and it rubs them the wrong way, it's like most likely because they can't see that in themselves. Like,
Mm.
you know what I mean? And then like
Yeah, totally.
in which case you're much better off knowing that right away.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. No, but
Yeah.
like circling back to like that, I like that, like authenticity and sincerity or whatever. It was making me, I was thinking about earlier, just like in rhyme itself or in the songs, the difference between biting a lyric and paying homage to it.
Mm.
You know what I
Yes.
mean? Because like you can, you can repeat a dope line if you're like if you're honoring the artist that first did it or whatever, or making reference to it. It's like, so everybody knows this line is so iconic. Everybody knows that I'm like, yeah, honoring it versus like trying to perpetrate as if you made it up yourself.
Yeah, man. And like, again, in terms of hip hop realness and the ethic around that, um, like people will know, and
Hmm.
and I think there's people will know if you're being if you're if you're biting, and I
Yeah.
there's such a thrust toward honest self-expression in hip hop that that if you're gonna show up as a nerd or a geek, show up as a nerd or a geek,
Yeah. Yeah. Whatever you do, just do it. Do it
right,
to death.
exactly, like be you, because that's
Yeah.
cool. And
Hmm.
even if there are problematic codes that might prevent you from feeling like you can really be you, especially if you're like a gay rapper.
Yeah.
Again, going back to the shadow side of it, without blindly celebrating hip hop, that there are those shadow elements that still sort of silence and suppress. But I think those are changing as
Oh,
our self
yeah.
identities change, and and our self awareness evolves as a society that has evolved alongside this
Yeah.
cultural movement.
I mean,
Has
especially
influenced
now.
so much of.
Oh, no, sorry.
Yeah, totally.
I was gonna say,
No, go ahead.
especially now in the light of, well, I haven't been keeping too close to track. I heard he didn't get charged with as much as he should, but I mean, like the Diddy trial and everything, like that forced the culture to. Who has it changed and grown since then? Maybe it's too soon, but like it was a, that was a catalyst for a change coming, and then like it forced, yeah, it forced I don't know, forced hip hop artists to just be looked. I don't know. What am I trying to say? Um, the sexuality of a hip hop artist was much more fluid than like they were allowed to present
Yeah,
through their art. And so like now it's like I don't know, you have to accept that and grow like that's what it is now. So it has to change from that because of the exposure.
right. And I think like early examples of that. I mean, the earliest I can think of, just because of when we grew up and what was popular at the time, are Outcasts, like Big Boy and Andre 3000, kind of like gender bending hip hop a little bit
Oh
and doing
yeah.
it in ways that were like somehow respected.
Yeah.
And then now like Tyler the Creator, Frank Ocean, Lil Nas
Mm-hmm.
X on a like pop mainstream level.
Yeah.
Um, and of course, women rappers, I think, take the forefront because they're already like confronting really strict gender norms in ways that create a kind of gender fluidity in women. Like it's a way for women to kind of express a kind of masculine um, self-identity, and by that I just mean like an identity that's assertive and aggressive, that
Oh yeah.
that undermines those norms which say women only have a place over there, and it's as like and it should be soft and seductive and hypersexual, and it still can be all those things, but
Yeah.
also more than that. And all that to say, um, I think I think you're right. I think hip hop is becoming more visible to itself in light of the fact that its shadow is being um, revealed to us in these very public cases like P Diddy's or Kendrick's beef with Drake, which I think
Yeah.
was hip hop calling it, Kendrick calling hip hop into account for the ways in which it's blindly celebrated people within its own culture who have appropriated the culture,
Yeah.
and have fronted on realness um, uh, in ways that betray like a very deep underside, like deeply layered underside of black male insecurity within hip hop. And I'm saying this as a white man, so I just
Yeah.
want to be
No.
aware of that. But I think it's true. Like I think Kendrick is doing really prophetic things that way. Um, and I think hip hop has that potential. Like I still have a lot of hope and faith in hip hop as this self-correcting mechanism,
Well, sure. Yeah. Because like hundreds of artists filter through each like evolution or genre bend of hip hop from what it's going through.
Yeah.
And like every like quoting Dose, your Adam, last time he was on the show, but it was just like those eras of mumble rap, but they weren't always called mumble rap. But there's just an era
Mm.
that like doesn't have much body and soul to it, but it's just like existing.
Uh,
It's like that's what the culture is at that moment.
and yet,
But there's
mm,
still those. But like it always comes back through. But there's always like a few people that like carry on through. Like there's always like true artists that keep it alive. Like you had your Jay-Z's and your Nas's, your Kendricks. Um, I mean, for like, and Drake was running the show for a while too, and like, which like you're saying, yeah, that's hip. It is hip hop. It's not hip. Like whatever. It's pop. Like you're doing. Like shout out to like what he made of himself. Like that's
right.
incredible, I guess. Um, but no, I mean J. Cole was in the conversation until he bowed out of the last beef and just made it a
Yeah,
solo
he knew
thing.
his place.
Yeah, it's like
We're
sorry,
just gonna watch this.
right? This is
More
over my
than
head.
everybody else.
Yeah,
Yeah. And I think the fun thing too about hip hop, just to finish that point that you were making about reinscribing lines from other artists or other songs um, in one's own output or language. There's such a deeply literary element to hip hop too. Um, that comes with its own set of with its own grammar, its own rules of grammar,
yeah,
and one thing I love about it, it's like, oh, you listen to a song that came out in 2025, and it's got maybe like, let's say it has 3 different samples in it, referencing all these other stages in hip hop history and moments in hip hop history that were responding to a particular problem that still has relevance. And that's the fun thing, is there's always something new to explore. Like so much of
yeah,
what I've learned about hip hop, like, oh, well, where'd that sample come from? Oh, well, shit, where it comes from that song? And like, oh, well, what was that song inspired by? And like,
yeah. And then you
um,
appreciate that other lyric so much more. But it's like,
right,
yeah, it's like, it keeps it alive, number one, and then it's like an inside joke that we can all share. It's like
Right.
I love the hip hop that like takes 3 or 4 listens to like get it. Like that's why I always like Jay-Z, because like he'll say things without context, and then you don't get it until like the third verse, or like the third time you've listened to the second verse or whatever, and it's like, oh shit, I see what you did there. Or then, or like,
Subtext.
yeah, the subtext. And it's like once you get it, like something lights up. It's like, oh, I'm in on it now. And it's like, yeah,
Yes.
builds that community.
Like you're
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, you're not a decipher. Yeah.
And then you talk about it with your friend. Like me and my buddy Seth were big Jay-Z fans. But it's like, oh, did you catch that lyric in there? Dude, he snapped. Oh, he's an idiot,
Yeah.
man. Like you just, yeah, I don't know. It's great.
And I think he deserves that kind of credit. Um, for sure. Yeah, the hip hop is um, deeply intertextual
Yeah.
to get all academic on it, for sure that way. And I think it keeps you sharp, and it's a way to gatekeep. Like, all right, how much do you know is also a big question that we
Oh,
have.
sure.
Like, and if you don't know as much, it's not about knowing everything. It's just acknowledging what you know.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like
It's not how much you
being
know,
cool.
but it's like how much you care about what you know. Like, yeah, I
Right,
mean,
and that keeps you teachable as a person. Like, what a great life, like what a great ethic to live by.
yeah,
Like a certain kind of humility. Like, okay, like sit down if you have to sit down and be humble,
yeah, yeah.
and that's okay.
Just
You can
yeah, it
sit
is.
down, and then
It's beautiful. Like you just follow your bliss with the freedom of a child, and like whatever it
yeah,
is, and then like you
yeah, let
absorb
them,
you absorb so much more of it because you're not trying to be anybody about it. Like you're not trying to like the authenticity and sincerity. It's like you don't get into hip hop to be a hip hop head or whatever, or to be seen as some like it's not an identity, it's a way of life, you know what I mean?
right. Yeah,
And you can,
exactly. That's a
yeah,
great way to put
and you can tell when someone is faking the funk.
it. Right. Yeah, completely.
Oh, well, nobody's faking the funk on here, man. I think it's about that time we give the Oddville folks a break and wrap it up.
Sweet, man.
Oh man, I appreciate you
Well,
coming on, man. I feel like we could go for hours. We're definitely gonna have to get you back on real soon.
and thanks
Yeah.
for privileging me with the space to be asked questions that I care about, and that I know you care about as well. So um,
Yeah, yeah,
I really am.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Ah, man, yeah, you're a very, very dear friend. I appreciate everything you do for me and who you are as a person. Yeah, I've been wanting to tell your story on here for a while, and you've got so much more story. Like I wanted to get to how you made it to Santa Fe because that's always an interesting one. But like, yeah, we gotta, yeah, we'll get you back on again.
we continued. Yeah, definitely.
All right, namaste, bitches.
Namaste.
You are so odd.